The dream that almost shook. The NBA, Stephen Curry was one phone call away from creating the most dangerous superstar duo the NBA had ever seen. For a few wild days, it felt real. LeBron James in a Warriors jersey. Curry pulling defenders 30 feet away from the rim. Draymond Green directing traffic like a defensive general. Steve Kerr drawing up plays for two of the smartest basketball minds of their generation. This was not just another rumor floating through NBA social media. This was the kind of move that could have changed the entire balance of the league overnight. Then, almost without warning, the dream started slipping away. It all began with Draymond Green making a decision that shocked the league. He declined a player option worth nearly $28 million, instantly becoming a free agent and giving Golden State a chance to reshape its money. To casual fans, it looked strange. To people watching closely, it looked like a signal. Draymond was not simply walking away from money, he was helping open a door. And behind that door was LeBron James. Less than 24 hours later, reports said LeBron would not return to the Lakers. Suddenly, the math became impossible to ignore. Draymond had opted out. LeBron was leaving Los Angeles. The Warriors had chased him before. LeBron had publicly said he wanted to play with Curry. Curry and LeBron had already shown real chemistry with Team USA. Everything seemed to be lining up perfectly. For Warriors fans, it felt like the basketball gods were finally giving Curry one last all-in move. But this was the NBA, and nothing stays simple for long. Just as Golden State started believing the impossible was becoming possible, Cleveland entered the conversation with something the Warriors could not copy: history. LeBron was drafted there, he became a legend there. He left, returned, and delivered the championship that changed the city forever. And now, reports were saying the Cavaliers might be the favorite to bring him home again. That is when Curry's dream turned into a full-blown NBA drama. Because Curry was not just watching this happen. He was involved, he was recruiting, he was connected. He had every reason to believe this could be the move that extended his championship window. And now, the team standing in his way was not just another contender. It was LeBron's basketball hometown. So the question becomes simple. Did Curry just lose the biggest recruiting battle of his career before the deal even reached the finish line? Before we go deeper, tell me where you're watching from right now. If you believe Curry and LeBron would have been the scariest duo in basketball, comment 1. If you think LeBron belongs back in Cleveland, comment 2. And if you want more NBA drama, trade rumors, and behind-the-scenes stories like this, make sure you subscribe right now, because this story is only getting started. Draymond Green's risky sacrifice. The first real clue was not a LeBron quote, not a Curry interview, and not some viral fan edit showing James in a Warriors jersey. It was Draymond Green walking away from money. That is what made the entire league stop and look twice. Draymond had a player option worth nearly $28 million, the kind of number most players would never casually leave on the table. But when he declined it, the move instantly felt bigger than a contract decision. It felt like the beginning of a plan. For years, Draymond had been more than just a Warriors player. He was Curry's emotional engine, Golden State's defensive brain, and the one teammate who understood how fragile the final years of this dynasty had become. He knew Curry's championship window was not wide open forever. He knew the West was getting younger, deeper, and more dangerous. He knew the Warriors could not simply run back the same group and expect the past to save them. So when Draymond opted out, people around the league started doing the math. If he returned on a longer deal with less money in the first year, Golden State could create more flexibility. If the Warriors could create enough room, they could make a serious pitch. And if LeBron James was truly leaving Los Angeles, then suddenly the impossible did not sound impossible anymore. The timing was what made it explosive. Draymond steps away from the money. Less than a day later, LeBron's Lakers exit becomes the center of the NBA conversation. 2 moves, back to back, and suddenly the league was staring at the outline of something massive. Curry, Draymond, and LeBron together in Golden State. 3 veterans, 3 champions, 3 basketball minds trying to turn one last window into one last title run. But sacrifice only matters if the plan worked. That is why Draymond's decision carried so much risk. If LeBron came, he would look like the teammate who helped unlock history. If LeBron chose Cleveland, Miami, or anyone else, then Draymond's opt-out would look like a gamble that opened the door for a dream that never walked through it. And that is what makes this part of the story so tense. Because Draymond was not just helping the front office, he was helping Curry. He was trying to give his longtime teammate the one thing Golden State had failed to give him in recent years: a true superstar swing, a move so big that nobody could accuse the Warriors of wasting the end of Curry's prime. But the NBA does not reward good intentions, it rewards finished deals. And by the time Cleveland started gaining momentum, Draymond's sacrifice no longer looked like the first step toward a parade. It looked like the first step into uncertainty. Curry steps into the recruiting war. Stephen Curry has never been the loudest recruiter in the NBA. He does not usually move like a player who pressures front offices in public. He does not create messy ultimatums. He does not turn every offseason into a reality show. Curry's power has always been quieter than that. A phone call, a private conversation, a relationship built over years. A message that says more than a headline ever could. But this time, Curry could not stay completely in the background. LeBron James was not just another free agent. He was the one superstar Curry had battled, respected, studied, and chased for more than a decade. Their careers had been tied together through finals battles, championship debates, MVP conversations, and the endless question of what might happen if the greatest shooter ever played next to one of the greatest playmakers ever. For years, that idea lived only in imagination. Then the Olympics changed everything. When Curry and LeBron played together for Team USA, fans saw something they had only dreamed about. Curry sprinting off the ball while LeBron controlled the floor. LeBron reading defenses while Curry bent them into panic. Two legends, once defined by rivalry, suddenly looking like they had been built to share the same side of the court. That chemistry mattered. It gave Golden State something real to sell. This was not a random pairing between two aging stars chasing attention. Curry and LeBron had already shown they could work. They had already won together. They had already created moments that made fans wonder why the basketball world had never gotten a full NBA season of that connection. So when LeBron's Lakers' future collapsed, Curry stepped closer to the fire. Reports described him and Draymond as active parts of the pitch. That means Curry was not just hoping the front office would figure it out. He was part of the process. He knew what was at stake. He knew the Warriors needed something bold. And he knew LeBron might be the only available name big enough to change Golden State's future overnight. That is why his public interactions with LeBron started to feel different. A joke about a golf swing was not just a joke anymore. A clip, a comment, a smile, a playful jab, everything became evidence for fans trying to read between the lines. Was Curry just having fun with an old rival? Or was he keeping the relationship warm while something much bigger was happening behind closed doors? That is the magic and danger of NBA rumor season. One small moment can become a signal. One friendly exchange can become a headline. One superstar laugh can make an entire fan base believe a deal is alive. And Curry knew that. He knew every move would be watched. He knew every interaction would be dissected. But he also knew the Warriors needed LeBron to feel wanted, not just by executives, but by the face of the franchise himself. So Curry did what a quiet leader does when the moment becomes too important to ignore. He entered the recruiting war. LeBron's hidden signals. LeBron James has spent his entire career controlling the room without always saying the obvious thing out loud. That is what made his signals so powerful. He did not need to announce, "I want Golden State." He did not need to stand in front of cameras and declare that he was ready to join Stephen Curry. All he had to do was let the basketball world remember what he had already said, what he had already shown, and what he had already built with Curry when they finally shared the floor. The first signal had been sitting there for years. LeBron once named Curry as the current player he would most like to play with. That kind of statement does not disappear. Fans remembered it, reporters remembered it, Warriors, executives remembered it, and most importantly, Curry probably remembered it too. Because when a player like LeBron says your name, it is never just background noise. Then came the Team USA connection. The chemistry was too smooth to ignore. LeBron and Curry did not look like two legends awkwardly trying to share a spotlight. They looked natural. Curry did not need to dominate the ball. LeBron did not need to force the offense. Each player made the other more dangerous in a way that felt obvious the moment it happened. That became the foundation of the fantasy. Golden State could point to it and say, "This already works." Curry could point to it and say, "You know what this feels like." Fans could point to it and say, "We saw it with our own eyes." Then, as rumors grew hotter, old clips and podcast moments started resurfacing. Conversations about perfect basketball, reflections on playing together, videos that reminded everyone of what Curry and LeBron looked like when their basketball intelligence was aimed in the same direction. Maybe some of it was coincidence. Maybe some of it was timing. But in NBA drama, timing is never innocent to the fans watching at home. Every repost felt like a clue. Every highlight felt like a message. Every mention of Curry and LeBron's chemistry made Golden State's dream feel a little more possible. Even if LeBron's camp never confirmed anything, the conversation kept feeding itself. And the longer the decision stretched, the more Warriors fans believed there had to be a reason. But LeBron's signals were never only pointing west. That was the problem. Because for every sign that made Golden State feel alive, there was another emotional force pulling him back toward Ohio. Cleveland was not just another destination on a list. It was his beginning, his return, his promise fulfilled, and maybe the only place where his final act could feel bigger than basketball. That is why this story became so dangerous for Curry. LeBron gave Golden State enough hope to believe, but Cleveland had enough history to interrupt the dream. And in the NBA, hope can be the cruelest part of the entire game. Cleveland enters the room. Golden State had the dream, but Cleveland had the history. That was the twist nobody in the Bay wanted to hear. The Warriors could offer LeBron James a basketball fantasy, Stephen Curry's spacing, Draymond Green's IQ, Steve Kerr's system, and one last chance to chase a ring beside the greatest shooter ever. But Cleveland could offer something deeper. Home. LeBron was drafted there. He became a legend there. He left, came back, and delivered the championship that changed the city forever. So when reports started saying the Cavaliers were becoming the favorite, this was not just another free agency rumor. It was a full circle story beginning to breathe again. For Curry, that made the chase harder. How do you recruit against a city that raised the legend? How do you beat a franchise where LeBron's most emotional basketball chapter already happened? Golden State had the brighter basketball imagination, but Cleveland had memories, loyalty, and unfinished emotional weight. And the Cavaliers had real basketball reasons too. They needed size, leadership, playmaking, and playoff control. LeBron could still bring all of that without needing to carry everything like he did in his younger years. He could return as the veteran closer, the organizer, the final piece for a team trying to take the next step. That is why Cleveland was dangerous. They were not just selling nostalgia. They were selling meaning. They were selling comfort. They were selling one last chapter in the place where everything began. And suddenly, the Warriors' dream did not look guaranteed anymore. It looked vulnerable. Why? The Cavaliers' threat feels real. At first, Warriors fans wanted to laugh off Cleveland. The money looked complicated, the roster was expensive, the cap situation was messy. On paper, it seemed almost impossible for the Cavaliers to bring LeBron back without serious financial gymnastics. But in the NBA, impossible changes fast when a superstar is involved. If LeBron truly wanted Cleveland, the Cavaliers had options. They could move salary. They could explore a sign and trade. They could bring in a third team. They could reshape the roster just enough to make the numbers work. None of it would be easy, but easy is not the point when a franchise icon is on the line. The key detail was LeBron's motivation. If this decision was only about money, Cleveland would have a problem. But if it was about happiness, meaningful basketball, and legacy, then the Cavaliers suddenly became a serious threat. LeBron did not need to chase the biggest paycheck anymore. He needed the right ending. That is where Cleveland's pitch became powerful. He would not be joining a random team. He would be returning to a place that already understands his story. The fans know the journey. The city knows the pain and the glory. The jersey already means something. On the court, the fit had questions, but the need was real. Cleveland needed another playmaker, another big game voice, and someone who could steady the team when playoff pressure got heavy. LeBron could still do that. That made the threat real. Golden State was offering a dream partnership. Cleveland was offering a storybook ending with a competitive purpose. And sometimes, that is even harder to beat. The Warriors' problem, nobody wants to say out loud. Curry and LeBron together sounds perfect until you start building the rest of the roster. That is the problem Golden State could not ignore. Yes, the idea is incredible. Curry stretches the floor like no player in history. LeBron reads the game like a coach on the court. Draymond adds defense, toughness, and chemistry. Steve Kerr gives them structure. In highlights, it looks unstoppable. But championships are not won in fantasy edits. Golden State had real concerns. Age, health, depth, defense, spacing, athleticism. The Western Conference is not forgiving, and a team built around aging stars cannot survive on names alone. Curry is still elite, but he cannot carry every night. LeBron is still brilliant, but he needs the right support. Draymond still matters, but only when the pieces around him fit. That is where the dream gets complicated. If the Warriors added another veteran star like Anthony Davis, the headline would be massive. But would the spacing work? Would the health hold up? Would the bench be strong enough? Would Golden State actually become a title favorite? Or just the most famous risky experiment in the league? That is what analysts were warning about. The Curry-LeBron pairing was not the issue. The issue was everything around them. Greatness still needs balance. It needs shooting, youth, defense, and reliable role players. Without that, even legends can run out of answers. And that is the danger of chasing one giant move. If it works, you change the league. If it fails, you may realize too late that the smaller moves are already gone. Curry's frustration with the Warriors front office. For Stephen Curry, this was bigger than LeBron. It was about urgency. For years, Warriors fans have wanted the front office to make one more serious all-in move around Curry. Not a small signing, not a safe adjustment, not another wait-and-see plan. They wanted proof that Golden State understood the clock was ticking. Curry has given the franchise everything. Championships, loyalty, patience, a dynasty, a global identity. He turned the Warriors into one of the most important organizations in basketball. But his window is not forever. That is why the LeBron chase felt so important. Finally, Golden State looked aggressive. Draymond was willing to sacrifice. The front office was exploring creative paths. Curry was involved in the recruiting. For a moment, it felt like the organization was ready to push every chip into the middle. Then Cleveland started taking control of the story, and that had to hurt. Not because Curry expected LeBron to automatically choose him, but because chances like this almost never appear. LeBron does not become available every summer. A Curry-LeBron pairing is not something you can revisit later. When that door opens, a franchise has to move perfectly. If Golden State misses, the question becomes uncomfortable. What is the backup plan? Can the Warriors still build a real contender? Can they still give Curry enough help? Can they still prove that his final championship years are being handled with the seriousness they deserve? Curry may never say all of that publicly. That is not his style. But competitors remember these moments. They remember who acted fast, who hesitated, and who delivered. And if the Warriors lose LeBron and run back almost the same roster, this will not feel like just a failed rumor. It will feel like another year slipping away. The three possible endings. There are three ways this story can end. The first is the dream ending for Golden State. LeBron chooses the Warriors, Draymond's sacrifice pays off, and Curry finally gets the superstar partner. Fans have imagined for years the NBA would explode. Every game would become must-watch television. Every win would look like proof that old legends still have one more run left. But that ending brings pressure. Curry and LeBron would not be allowed to simply be interesting. They would be expected to win immediately. The second ending is Cleveland. LeBron returns home for one final chapter. The Cavaliers become the emotional center of the NBA. Cleveland fans get the storybook return. LeBron gets to finish the circle in the place where his career began. For Curry, that would be painful because it would mean Golden State did almost everything right and still lost to history. The third ending is the most dangerous for the Warriors. LeBron takes his time, Cleveland keeps building momentum, and Golden State waits too long. The big move never happens. The backup options disappear. The Warriors tell fans they still believe in the roster, but everyone knows the truth. They swung big and missed. That would leave Curry stuck in the worst possible place. Not angry enough to explode, but not supported enough to truly contend. That is why this saga mattered. It is not just about LeBron's next jersey. It is about whether Golden State still knows how to turn ambition into action before Curry's window closes for good. Because missing a superstar hurts, but having no real plan after missing him hurts even more. What this means for Curry, LeBron, and the NBA. No matter where LeBron James eventually lands, this saga has already revealed something important about the NBA. Dreams are not enough. The Warriors had the dream, Curry and LeBron together. Two legends rewriting the final chapters of their careers. Draymond sacrificing money, Steve Kerr coaching basketball intelligence at the highest level. A fan base imagining one more parade, one more run, one more reason to believe the dynasty was not finished. But dreams have to survive reality, and reality is always more complicated. Contracts matter, timing matters, health matters, roster balance matters, history matters. Cleveland did not become dangerous just because of nostalgia. Cleveland became dangerous because it could offer LeBron something Golden State could not fully manufacture: emotional closure, familiar ground, and a chance to finish the story where it began for the Warriors. The lesson is clear. If you have Stephen Curry, you cannot operate halfway. You cannot wait until the final years of his prime to start acting desperate. You cannot build an entire offseason around one miracle and then act surprised when the rest of the market moves. Great franchises prepare for the dream, but they also prepare for the dream falling apart. For Curry, this moment is a reminder of how brutal the end of a championship window can be. He has done everything a franchise player can do. He stayed, he won, he sacrificed, he gave Golden State an identity that will live forever. Now the organization has to show him that loyalty still runs both ways. For LeBron, the choice is different. It is not just about the best roster. It is about the right ending. Does he chase one last wild experiment with Curry? Does he return to Cleveland and complete the circle? Does he choose comfort, competition, family, legacy, or some combination only he truly understands? That is what makes this story so powerful. It is not only about basketball transactions. It is about aging legends trying to control time. It is about franchises trying to honor the past without losing the future. It is about players who have given everything to the game deciding how they want the final chapters to feel. And maybe the most human lesson is this. Even in a league built on competition, the ending matters, respect matters, timing matters. The way teams treat their stars matters. The way players handle difficult choices matter. Not every dream needs to become a battle. Not every disappointment needs to become bitterness. Sometimes the best thing everyone can do is tell the truth, make the clean decision, and move forward with respect. Because Curry and LeBron do not need one more rumor to prove who they are. Their legacies are already written in championships, records, and memories that change basketball forever. But if this was the closest they ever came to becoming teammates, fans will always wonder what might have happened if the phone calls worked, if the timing lined up, and if the dream did not slip away at the last second. If you want more NBA stories like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and share this video with another real basketball fan. And now tell me in the comments. Press 1 if you think LeBron should join Curry in Golden State. Press 2 if you think he should go back to Cleveland. And press 3 if you believe the Warriors need a different move before it is too late.